Welcome to the Town of Aurora's Committee of Adjustment meeting. The time is 7:04 p.m. on Thursday, November the 13th, 2025. I would like to call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. I will start by introducing the committee members and staff. I am the committee chair. My name is Alita Tari, and the remaining members are as follow. Michael Visconti, who is the vice chair, John Hartman, Claudia Watts, and Maricela Saceda. The secretary-treasurer is Stephanie February, and the senior planner is Antonio Greco. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the Treaty Lands of Mississauga and Chippewas and recognize through Treaty Number 13 as well as the William Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. So tonight's agenda, the first item is the approval of the agenda. If I could please get a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda. Maricela?
To approve tonight's agenda.
And if I can please get a seconder? Thank you, Michael. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And our next item is if there's any declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, thank you. The next item is the confirmation of the minutes from October 9th, 2025. And if I could please have a motion to adopt those minutes as circulated. Thank you, John. And if I can please have a seconder. Thank you, Claudia. All in favor? Thank you very much. So before we move on to our presentation of applications, I'm just going to go through some remarks. So this public meeting is being audio and video recorded. It is also conducted virtually and through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, and comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal Act and the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions regarding the collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the Town of Aurora website and through the staff at the town's planning department. Should you wish to receive any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through town staff. Applicants and agents will automatically be notified. For each application that we are going to be considering tonight, I please ask that the following occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the application, and then the applicant and/or agent will be given the opportunity to make a presentation. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or to let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Presentations and deputations are limited to 5 minutes as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will then invite members of the public who have an interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the secretary-treasurer. Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the appropriate form available through the secretary-treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting and that they will not be noted in any manner or at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once a decision has commenced, in respect of a motion, no further presentations shall be made. If you require any sort of technical assistance with your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following the meeting on the YouTube feed, you will need to turn that feed off and join the live meeting, as there is a slight lag between the YouTube and the live feed. Please ensure that all your questions and or comments are directed through me as the chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person to respond. It should also be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any questions or comments should the committee feel that that is appropriate. So tonight's first application on the agenda is Boston 10 and 12 Spruce Street. The purpose of the purpose of the proposed consent application is to sever the subject lands as follows. See Appendix B and C. And A, the proposed retained lands, 12 Spruce Street, Part 1 of the draft plan of severance on the northern half. Part 1 feature of lot area, 325.6 meters square, and a lot frontage of 10.9 meters. B, proposed severed lands 10 Spruce Street. Part 2 of the draft plan of severance, the southern half. Part 2 features a lot area of, 458.6 meters square and a lot frontage of 13.5 meters. Staff have reviewed the application with respect to section 5124 of the Planning Act as amended and the provincial planning statement, provincial plans, and the town's official plans, and are satisfied with the proposed consent applications. Based on this, staff have no objection to approving the consent application, subject to the conditions attached in Appendix A of the staff report. Is that Blair that I see?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes. If you could please state your name and address for the record, and then you can let us know if you have a presentation or whether you're just here to answer questions.
Sure, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, my name is Blair Boston. My address is 425 Coventry Hill Trail in Newmarket. I don't have a formal presentation. I'm happy to provide a bit of backstory on the site and the project if required. If not, I can stand behind the staff planning report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody in the committee have questions for Michael?
Yes, hi, through you, Madam Chair. Just a point of clarification.
Sure.
We have 10 and 12 Spruce Street.
Correct.
Is that those are existing lots, right? Before anything. So there's pin numbers.
Yeah.
One or
what was there first, Michael? There was an existing duplex through you, Madam Chair. Sorry. There was an existing duplex on the property. This property was purchased by my daughter and her fiance, and we went through the heritage approval process, had the zoning and our new designs and plans approved by the Heritage Committee for our building permit application. So there was an existing duplex which was demolished and has since been rebuilt. And the purpose of this severance application is actually just to turn it into 2 proper lots for the semi-detached that's been approved for the site. Basically, the severance is just to divide the land sort of right through the dividing wall of a semi-detached.
But they were previously existing part lots, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're not really doing anything.
No, it's a planning consent process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Do we have any other questions from the committee? Seeing no further questions, can I please get a motion for this application? Claudia?
Through you, Madam Chair, I move to approve consent application C202501 at 10 and 12 Spruce Street.
And if I can please get a seconder for that motion? Thank you, John. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, Blair.
Okay, guys, thanks you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, our second item on tonight's agenda is 16 Johnson Road, MV 2025-44. The owner applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a 2-story single detached dwelling. The following relief is being requested. A, section 24.497.3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard of 3 meters beyond the main rear wall of the adjacent dwellings. The applicant is proposing a new single detached dwelling, which is 1.5 meters to the interior side of the property line. Section 24.497.3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard of 25% of lot depth, which is 11.3 meters. The applicant is proposing a new single detached dwelling, which is 7.8 meters to the rear property line. And section 24.497.3.3 of the zoning bylaw also requires a maximum height of 9 meters to the midpoint roof. The applicant is proposing a new single detached dwelling, which is 9.2 to the midpoint of the roof. Section 24.97.3.3 of the zoning bylaw requires a maximum height of 9.9 meters to the peak of the roof. The applicant is proposing a new single detached dwelling, which is 11.2 meters to the peak of the roof. And planning staff have reviewed the application with respect to sections 45(1) of the Planning Act as amended, and they are of the opinion that the requested variances meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act for granting the minor variances. Staff recommend that the approval of the requested variance be approved, subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix A of the report. And is it Stephanie?
Yes, it's Richard and Stephanie Heim here together.
Hi, so Richard, if you could please do me a favor and just state your full name and your address for the purposes of the record for tonight's meeting. And then if you could let us know if you have a presentation or if you're here to just answer questions.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's Richard Armstrong and Stephanie Heim together at 16 Johnson Road, Aurora.
Okay, so are you here just to answer questions or did you have some form of a presentation for the committee?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Chair, our only, and just excuse me, it's our first time going through this, we're just private homeowners, but our only recommendation to the committee was to consider or reconsider the conditions of approval in Appendix A, and we're happy to provide any context, my wife and I, but other than that, just happy to answer any questions, and thank you to everybody for making the time.
Do we have any questions from the committee? John.
Through you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, could you clarify that last statement, Steph, in terms of what you want to change or alter in Appendix A?
Yeah, thank you, John. So the approval, I believe, and my apologies again, it's our first time going
That's all
through
right.
this
That's
process.
okay.
But I believe there's one condition for approval as laid out in Appendix A, which is largely centered around a tree in our front yard. And John, I'd be happy to provide some context on what that is ultimately centered on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the tree, I've seen the property, so if you want to paint me a picture, that'd be better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, unfortunately, 20, 25 years ago, somebody planted a beautiful blue spruce. They actually planted 2 of them, one on each corner in front of the house, just gorgeous trees. Unfortunately, I think one of them was taken down before our ownership, I think some time back. And the one that's remaining, it's a stunning tree, beautiful tree, and we really would like to have kept it. Unfortunately, it was planted about 6 or 7 feet away from the existing foundation, making it, unfortunately impossible to really kind of do anything with that lot. And again, like a beautiful tree, and I think whoever planted it back then, they probably, weren't thinking kind of 25 years in advance, and it's unfortunate where it was put. So we love that tree, and we have every intent to replant is essentially as large of a blue spruce as we can get planted as soon as the project's over in its place, like essentially just in a better location that doesn't interfere with the house and it's approved with the town. But that was largely the context, John. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, Claudia, you had a question as well?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. This is more of a question for Antonio. I believe in the appendix, it's more so saying that an arborist would evaluate the vegetation and the trees, not necessarily that the property owners have to keep it in order to construct the project. So I'm not sure that we need to get rid of anything here. I just want to clarify that with Antonio.
Through you, Madam Chair, Claudia, yes, you are correct. The purposes of the conditions is to evaluate the site. Doesn't necessarily mean an evaluation report needs to be completed. It's just a condition we place to ensure that any trees that are being removed are being acknowledged and follow our tree bylaw for the town.
Okay, thank you. And Marcella, did you have a question as well?
I wanted to find out, through you, Madam Chair, just a quick question. Will there be additional privacy trees planted as you're going from a single-story home to a two-story home? My biggest concern is always the infringement upon, like, both of your neighbors on both sides are going to have one-story homes, and now you're able to overlook upon that. So I wasn't sure if there was a plan in place as well for something along those lines.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, like, look, that is a big concern for us too. One of the reasons we love that lot is it has many mature trees around the surroundings and some beautiful cedars. Like, I planted a bunch of cedars around the rear property line because privacy is key for us, and we're both very close with our neighbors on both sides. And that's a first and foremost, like, an important consideration. And we do feel that there is really nice kind of foliage and coverage with the understanding that the house would be two-story.
And did your neighbors happen to? I didn't see any motions of or any letters of support. They didn't happen to submit anything in support of your variance?
Oh, you know what? Again, I'll pointing to our first time going through this, but we could have easily provided. I was actually speaking to both of them today, and they were asking me how we were making out and that they were excited. And I think there's a lot of things from the existing house that we were gonna, largely kind of donate to their cause, and they're pretty excited about it. I know that if I had have gone to them, they would have done it in a heartbeat. Just super people. Their biggest comment to us was, all we care is that you and the family and the kids are staying, and that it's not somebody else moving in. That was their only comment.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
If I may, through you, Madam Chair, I think just one other quick comment here. I've lived in Aurora my whole life, 38 years. I grew up on Cranberry, and my parents still live in Aurora and Old Aurora, and we love the street on Johnson. Like, we have kids, they can go play in the street, no through traffic. My son can pull his hockey net out and we can shoot pucks, and we love it. And we went down this road of doing this project because we thought it would keep us close to Regency, the school I went to as a kid and my son goes to. And I think, just to be completely transparent, I don't think we really knew what we were biting off in terms of, like, approval process perspective. And I think my comment prior on the condition in Appendix A is, it was less so, to do with the tree, but more so, I think, just out of fear of how onerous the process honestly looked when I read it. And again, my apologies, because I think it's our first time going through it, and I don't know, what it exactly involves. But we, again, and to be transparent, we've moved in with my wife's in-laws. I'm currently sitting in our in-laws' spare bedroom. We've moved in with 2 kids, and we moved out, unfortunately, a little too early. We moved out in September, and the part of the reason I had asked to maybe reconsider that condition was just through the thought of the time that it adds to the build, that we got to have the family out of the house. So I just figured I'd mention that just to give some color. But thank you again, everyone.
So I'm just trying to understand a point of clarification, and maybe Antonio, I don't know if you can help. So I'm just trying to understand how I'm reading the third one, is just to ensure that you know, there is a check on compliance relative to the tree. Clause 4 actually in the appendix, and I guess this is just a question for myself, which I'm not understanding. I know it says a monetary evaluation. If, and I'm just putting it out there, if that tree gets removed, is that the only option, is a monetary evaluation, or could the owners put a certain amount of trees in place of that one?
Through you, Madam Chair, no, monetary would not be the only way. They can do tree replanting. I just like to outline that the conditions there are placed on a worst case scenario. They could be cleared very easily, and there's only one tree being removed for the proposed project. So I don't foresee any issues in clearing these conditions. It's just to ensure that we do make an emphasis on tree removals and that the conditions are in place in the event that there are more than one.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And thank you. Does someone have a motion for this application? Marcella?
I move to approve application MB-2025-44 as per conditions outlined in the staff report, subject to conditions appendix A and B. Yeah.
Okay, and if I can get a seconder for that? Thank you, John. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so our third application tonight is number 19 Cousins Drive, file MV 2025-40. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a detached one-story residential unit in the rear yard. The following relief is being requested. A, section 5.6.1A, subsection 2 of the zoning bylaw permits a maximum driveway width of 6 meters. The applicant is proposing a driveway width of 7.6 meters. B, section 24.497.8 of the zoning bylaw permits a maximum gross floor area of 40 square meters. The applicant is proposing a one-story ARU with a gross floor area of 69.3 square meters. Section 24.497.8 of the zoning bylaw permits a maximum height of 3.5 meters to the midpoint of the roof. The applicant is one-story ARU with a height of 4.1 meters to the midpoint of the roof. And section 24.97.8 of the zoning bylaw permits a maximum height of 4.5 meters to the peak of the roof. The applicant is proposing a one-story ARU with height of 5.1 meters to the peak of the roof. Planning staff have reviewed the application regarding section 45(1) of the Planning Act as amended and believe that the requested variances meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act for granting the minor variances. Staff recommend approval of the requested variances subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix A attached to the report. I'm not sure if the I know that we have some speakers, but I'm not sure if the applicant or owner is here.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have Fausto on behalf of the applicant here.
Hi, so if you could please do us a favor and state your name and address for the record, and then if you could let us know if you have some sort of a presentation or if you're only here to answer questions.
Perfect. My name is Fausto Cortese. I'm at 3590 Rutherford Road, Vaughan, Ontario. I'm the architect on the file, and I'll be representing the owners in this matter. And I just like a couple points. I'd like to point out a couple things. I understand that there's been a few letters of concern, and I'd like to address some of the concerns and just run you guys through the project very quickly if I can.
Sure.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. I just want to propose to let committee know that when we made this proposal, it was a little bit larger, and we met with planning because planning had a few concerns and mostly about coverage and size of the ADU, and they wanted us to reduce it as much as possible. We went through significant design changes to reduce it as great as possible. And we took into account the planning's comments about about its placement. They wanted us to move it over into the back, further behind the existing or being built existing structure, so to hide it further from the street. I'd like to point out that in terms of the driveway width, the driveway width that we're requesting, the 7.6, actually happens behind the primary residence building, and the actual driveway at the property line does meet the bylaw at 6 meters. The 7.6 meters that we're requesting is more for maneuverability of the additional vehicles. We're providing 5 parking spots on the property, so we're providing more than actual required, because the client wanted to be very sure that he wasn't creating any nuisances on the street by having anyone park on the street. In terms of also, I'd like to point out that the parent bylaw actually allows 15% coverage for an accessory structure, and I agree completely with staff that having this ADU have to comply with the accessory structure requirements is a little bit unfair for this garden suite. But under the parent bylaw, you would be allowed 15% coverage, which would be a total of 105 square meters, and we're only asking for 69.3 square meters. The 40 square meter requirement is a site-specific requirement. The other thing I'd like to point out is that overall coverage on the property is 35% allowed, and between the actual structure, the home structure, and the accessory structure, we still do not surpass that 35%. So I think that's a very important point. The only other thing I'd like to point out is I agree with the planning's justification. I agree that Bill 23 allows, as of right, 3 dwelling units on the property, and I'm here to answer any further questions you guys may have. Thank you. Sorry, I think you're muted.
Thanks for that. I just wanted to make sure there was no background noise when you were speaking. Stephanie, I believe we have a couple of delegations on this item. Did we want to hear the delegations before the committee asks any questions to the the representative of the owner, or do you want the committee to ask their questions and then we'll listen to the delegations?
We can let the delegates in if you'd like to start with them. I can do that now.
Would you prefer that as the committee? I defer to you guys. Yeah. Okay. So as far as I know, unless there are more that have registered, we have 2. So I'm not sure who it is that I believe Nunzio Grassi and then Hoda Jambaz, I think it is.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's correct. I'll let Nunzio in first.
Okay. Thank you. So Nunzio, if you could hear us, right now we cannot hear you, you're muted. And if you have the ability also to turn on your camera, that would be great. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be great. It might be, oh, there you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. So if you could please state your name and address for the record, and just a reminder, if you can try to keep your comments within a 5-minute time frame.
Okay, I will. I'll try. My name is Nunzio Grassi. I'm resident of the 11 Cousins Drive and 15 Cousins Drive. The subject property was my ex property that had a bungalow on it, and a while back I was told that can only build a bungalow. I've been in this committee maybe 12 years, They say it has to be bungalow. Finally, I took a little bit ill. I sold the property, but this individual promised to build a bungalow. But I did not see that he did not put it on paper. Well, my agent did not put it on the contract. I cannot do nothing about it. So now he's turning proposal bungalow to multi-units. So my concern is we were told that they changed the zoning. We were permitting now to have a principal house with 2 rental units. The owner could have 2 rental units. I'm fine with that. Now, this building does not meet the requirement where the owner has 2 rental units. To my opinion, this building already has 3 rental units in the building already. Now they want to put another one in a garden house, which is, it's way oversized. The height, nothing meets the bylaw requirement. So how can they propose this when it's not permitting by the bylaw zoning? So we are concerned, all my neighbors are concerned, and I'm talking behalf of a few other people because all senior people, they have a hard time to do this. And this to me should not be permitted. The bungalow in the backyard is way too big, according to the permitting, way too high, and too many parkings and too many cars. The gentleman says only 5 cars. My view, you could park 15 cars over there in every given moment. And where's he going to put the snow? On my property next door? No. The backyard building, it's a no go. He has 3 units in the house already. That's enough. Please, I oppose the building in the back.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if staff need to address anything, or I will, if not, then I'll ask the other deputation also to excuse me, be given the opportunity to speak. So, Hoda, if you could, okay, hi. I'm not sure if you have the ability to turn, oh, there we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hello. If you can just please do me a favor, if whoever is speaking, if you could please just state your name and your address for the record, and then if you can please keep your comments to about 5 minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Hi, I'm Hoda. My address is 14 Cousins Drive, Aurora. But sorry, I can't speak English very well.
I'm gonna help her. She's my mom. I'm her daughter. Okay. My name is Masa.
Yes, it's
Okay.
translate for me.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just that my parents' problem is that the street and also like the parking, there's going to be like too many cars soon, like and it's going to be snow in soon, like in December, and there's going to be too many car, and my mom really has a problem like. Also, as of right now, when there's like construction and everything going on, there are like too many big cars in front of our home, and it's just really hard for my mom and parent and my dad to come and park in our parking lot. They have like 2 big cars, and it's like hard for them to like drive, especially for my mom. That's our only like problem. We don't have any like. That's the only main thing that we're worried about because my mom really needs to like drive in and out all the time. She has to take my sister to class. It's just too much. Like, yeah, that's the only problem. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much for your
You're
comment.
welcome. Thank you.
And just so that you understand, so now we've heard from yourself, we've heard from the other delegate and also the agent on behalf of the owner. So now the floor is going to be open to the committee members. If anybody has any questions or anything for any of you, they will let you know. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the committee members? Michael.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Just a question for Fausto. And that is the concern about where to store snow. And also the point raised by Nunzio in that he says that there's already 3 units in the main building. And basically the garden suite is the fourth, which is contrary to what's allowed under Bill 23. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Through Madam Chair. We've allowed a large area in the back to accommodate for snow, as well as on the side of the accessory structure or accessory unit, as well as a typical like everyone else. They'll pile in the front yard as needed. So we feel that there's sufficient. There's the 3% of snow allocation as per the bylaw. We can definitely show 3% of the area if need be. In terms of the number of dwelling units, we've submitted a building permit for this for the primary dwelling. There are 2 dwelling units in the primary dwelling, and this will be the 3rd. Thank you.
So you're saying that the main dwelling unit is only 2 units, not 3, as Mr. Nunzio says.
That's correct. The building permit shows that there's only two dwelling units in the dwelling.
But then there's, in the letters that were in opposition, it says that there's 4 gas meters on the main building.
That's correct.
So how do you account for the 4th?
Oh, sure. So the basement unit of the dwelling is considered accessory area, and the heating, electrical, and the components of that goes to the landlord. So that area is amenity areas. However, the tenants don't pay for those utilities.
Oh, so you're saying the gas meter for the basement of the main dwelling
it will be yeah, because it's unfair for the tenant to pay for the amenity areas. Because how would you split up that area amongst the dwelling units, right? So the fourth meter is for the common elements.
Is the electrical meters the same way?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And as the
electrical meter, the electrical meter also covers the staircase heating and lighting in the staircases that would be common.
So there's common elements to this building.
There's areas in the dwelling that are not associated to individual tenants, for sure, yes, but are usable by those tenants.
Lastly, I mean, I have a copy of the site plan, and I'm wondering if staff could put that up to show Mr. Nunzio and Hoda how you've allocated the common areas. And
sure.
And I guess one question I have is the driveway leading into the garden unit. Is that going to be, can that ever be blocked? Because I'm seeing the widening of the driveway, which is one of the variances, which I agree with. But then as you're leading into that wider area, there's a possibility that there could be a blockage if somebody parks in front of the garage of the main dwelling.
Sorry, I'm not following. So sorry, we have the two parking spots in the rear. If you're speaking about the hammerhead component that's in front of the accessory unit, that is to facilitate the reverse and leaving of the two parking spots in the rear.
My question is in front of the 3-car garages.
Yes.
If anybody parks in front of there's a blockage for the garden suite tenant there to be able to drive through.
Of course.
Is that going to be some kind of sign there saying that you can't park in front of those garages?
Well, I mean, ideally, one of the accessories, one of the extra space would be considered like a visitor space. That would be the intent. The additional one was in case, because these units are 2-bedroom units, the owner wanted to make sure just in case one dwelling unit had multiple cars, that he would accommodate at least one additional car for if someone had two cars. So the way we anticipated it having is one person having two cars and one being a visitor parking. That's kind of how we anticipated it. We actually had another scenario where we had 3 spaces in the front, but then we had no landscape area in between the primary dwelling and the garden suite. So we chose to remove one of the spots and go with 5 spots, 3 in the garage and 2 on the outside.
My question to you as the landlord, you're not going to permit parking in front of the garages.
No, for sure. I don't. That was
some kind
that's
of
never contemplated.
restriction. So that helps to answer the question that Ms. Hoda, I believe, when she was concerned about parking and such on the street. It sounds like the main dwelling has 3 garages and they're required to park inside those garages.
That's correct. That would be the intent, yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. I have a so problem every day for the construction right now. For example, for today, I ask everybody when remove the car, please remove the car. I go back in the car because this house is cross.
It's across of our home, so
Yes,
it's like every
cross
time my
of
mom has to
the
ask
home.
for them to like, if you could please move your car so I can fit my car to the parking lot.
نمی‌دونیم چجوری میسوزه فقط. Sorry about that. 1 second I translate my daughter for you. نمیخوایم هر جوری میخواد بسازه فقط مشکل پارک برای من به وجود نیاره.
It's just like how you want to build it, just build whatever, like how you want to do it. We don't have an issue with that. It's just the parking. We don't want anyone parking in front of our parking lot, so it makes a problem for my parents. That's the only issue. We don't have any other issues, right? Like nothing.
Because the winter is
so hard for them.
Yeah, the winter is so hard because a lot of snow, but I can't remove the car. But it's so much a problem for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Through Madam Chair, I'll speak to the client and I'll raise these concerns with them. Obviously, during construction, I'm sure there's a lot of trades vehicles and things of that nature. I'll speak to them about leaving the front of your property accessible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do we have any other questions from the committee? Claudia.
Through you, Madam Chair, I just want to build off of Michael's previous question. Fausto, can you describe what is in the basement and just the layout of the units in the primary? So what's in the basement versus what's upstairs and what is that? Because I just want to clarify this whole confusion around the 4 gas meters. So could you describe more so what's in the basement versus what's upstairs?
Or if you have a rendering.
Sorry, I was muted there for a second. Yeah, I'm just going to pull it up. Just 1 second. Sorry. In the basement currently, there's an open amenity area, open space. as well as a mechanical room. And we did provide a rough-in for a bathroom in case of because if it was to be utilized as a party room or a gathering space for the tenants, we did actually provide a rough-in for a bathroom. I'm not quite sure whether or not that bathroom is being built, but we did provide a rough-in at a certain point in time. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Did you hear that?
You don't have
We
the
did.
render.
Thank you.
Oh,
And I
sorry.
was muted. And Claudia, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess you don't have the renderings, right?
Sorry, Fausto, you're muted.
I'm so sorry, guys.
That's okay.
We have a permit set of drawings that just shows the mechanical room, and that's it. But the basement was intended as just a gathering space for the tenants above.
Okay, thank you.
And John, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, so I want to just bridge off that, Fausto. So the basement it's not a living unit. It's an accessory room that can be used by the two tenants either on the ground floor or the unit above the garage, correct?
That's correct.
I have an additional question about the snow in the driveway, not the 7 feet or 7 meters, but bridging off what was asked earlier from Michael, the snow in terms of snow placement, runoff, and will there be a fence in between 19 Cousins on the west side, protecting that or creating a barrier? Would that be landscape between the two properties? My concern is snow placement and rain and water runoff, and then the fence, or if a proposed fence will come forth.
Good. Through Madam Chair, the fence is a good question.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
I'm not 100% sure about the fence. I can ask the owner about the fence. I'm assuming he would put a fence around the property. In terms of snow accumulation and snow storage, the intended areas for snow storage is beside the garden suite, in front of the garden suite, and in the front yard landscaping area.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the committee? I don't see any other questions. Does anybody have a motion that they want to put forward for this application? Michael?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I'd like to put a motion forward. I read the staff report, and the variances asked for are quite sizable. Normally, under normal circumstances, and if it wasn't for Bill 23, I would consider them, not minor variances. But because of Bill 23, they are reasonable as the staff report has suggested. And the only thing my concern is, and I agree with the staff recommendations, by the way, given that Bill 23 overrides everything else basically when it comes to minor variances. And so therefore, what I'd like to add for conditions under Appendix A is that the main dwelling unit continues to have only 2 units, and that the garden suite is the third, as permitted under Bill 23. So I'd like to add condition 3 under Appendix A to stipulate that this committee recommends that the main dwelling unit contain only 2 separate units, and the third one being the garden suite as permitted by the variances.
So I'll just have
I move approval.
right.
The
But
application, subject to adding a condition stipulating that the main dwelling unit has only 2 units, and that the third unit is the garden suite.
Okay.
And maybe town staff can help craft that third condition.
So I'm just
that's my motion.
Thank you, Michael. And I'm just going to ask Antonio if is it possible to add such a condition as part of the conditions of approval?
Through you, Madam Chair, that condition would essentially be cleared as of today because the applicant has submitted a building permit for the principal dwelling, which only shows 2 units. So if committee were to approve this minor variance application, there would essentially be 3 units on the property. One being the principal dwelling, the other unit above the garage, and then the third unit being the detached structure at the rear. So there wouldn't be a mechanism to clear that condition because as of today, there's only 2 units on the property.
I'm thinking in the future that if they ever decide to put a 3rd unit in the basement.
Through you, Madam Chair, the property can only contain 3 units maximum. If for whatever reason there is 4 units on the property, that 4th unit would have to be removed. There would be no, unless you would rezone, unless there's a rezoning of the property on its current zoning, you can only permit 3 units.
So just to sort of paraphrase what you're saying, and just I guess for the benefit of Michael and even for myself, so really that's not a condition of this, so to speak. That's a requirement to obtain the building permit that the applicant has applied for. So if there
Let me just, Madam Chair, sorry to intervene, but
No,
the
go ahead.
building permit would be for the accessory unit because the main building has already been approved and is under construction right now. So that there's already a building permit for the main building.
Yes, but the building permit for the main building shows 2 units.
It's 3 units.
Sorry, Madam Chair, we cannot have during deliberation.
Right. So sorry, just to the 2 deputants. We've heard your concerns, and now it's up to the committee to finish the discussions and to make a recommendation relative to the report. But thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, the building permit for the principal dwelling has been issued for 2 units.
But it's
there
already,
would be a separate.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's under construction right now. So
correct.
The permit was issued in the past, right?
Correct. So then if this were to be approved, a separate building permit would be for the accessory structure, which would be 1 unit, totaling 3 units on site.
Yeah. Okay.
So a condition of approval to ensure that there's 3 units on the property isn't needed because currently on site there's only 2 units.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
If there is a 4th unit by any chance, we would have that inspected. And as I said, the property would need to be rezoned. There is no mechanism to allow 4 units on the property
Or that 4th
unless
unit
through a
would have-
rezoning.
Or that 4th
Yeah, that 4th unit would have
to
to, be removed for sure.
Right. And that's because of the building permit, not the minor variance application.
Correct.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions, Marcel?
Hi, just a question through you, Madam Chair. I think this question is more for Antonio. Antonio, do we know if there's going to be? I'm not sure how the this unit will apply. Is it going to be 3 addresses, or is it going to be 1 address and then units A, B, and C? Like how is I'm thinking actually about trash, right? And receptacles and the big beautiful blue bins that, I'm just thinking of storage for those guys. Is there gonna be 1 big blue bin, or are we looking at 3 big blue bins? And everything
Through
else.
you, Madam, through you, Madam Chair, there could be a principal address being 19 Cousins, and there could be a unit A and unit B, but the tenants would have to be required to bring their trash to the front, at the curbside, and that would have to be allocated when they get their assigned addresses. So, garbage pickup would be, in access to just a regular garbage pickup due to the 3 units on site.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just curious to know. I think it's normally stipulated in when they get the permits that it's going to be like a whole new different address, like 19-1 or 19-2, which is what I've seen in other jurisdictions. I wasn't sure that's the way it was going to be here as well, and just curious to see if it stops at 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Seeing no other questions from the committee, is there anyone that would like to put forward? Well, I know, Michael, you were putting forward a motion. I don't know if you wanted to amend it in the sense of, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Antonio, for clarifying that for me. And I say this to Fausto, being representing the owner, that I guess the neighbors, having seen that there is a fourth unit being added, can always go to the town and file their grievances with the town and have it inspected. And so I guess my motion then would be amended. I move to approve file number MV-2025-40 with conditions as set out in the staff report.
Thank you. And if I can get a seconder for that? Thank you, John. All in favor? Great, thank you. So that concludes this application. And now, thank you, Fausto. Our next item on tonight's agenda is new business. Not seeing any new business, so our last item on the agenda is adjournment. If I could please get a mover to adjourn. Nobody wants to. Oh, Marcella, thank you. So if we could please adjourn the Committee of Adjustment meeting at